Hey there, welcome back. I have read the arc of Water 7. If I was not completely invested in the story before this point, which I was, I would be now, because oh my god. I have a couple things I need to talk about before I get into the plot and what I thought of everything that happened in this arc. Previously, I had mentioned that it was easier for me to get invested in Naruto, and a very lovely commenter made a comment saying, you feel more emotionally invested in the plot and character because Naruto's goal was tangible. I know what the Hokage is, I know why he wants to become it, and the steps to get there. Whereas the Pirate King is a more ambiguous, vague goal. I don't, other than Luffy wants to be free and have adventures, I don't know what the Pirate King is. I don't know how you become it if you're voted on it. It's just something people accept that you are now. I don't know any backstory for Luffy for why he wants to become the Pirate King. So I kind of had to shift my perspective on who Luffy is as a character and why we're following his story. And I've accepted that to be, he is the captain, but he is developing himself as a character for what kind of captain he is going to be. So early on, back when we got Usopp, we learned in the cat-themed pirates guy with a million plans, he was a terrible captain who wanted to get out of piracy and was willing to sacrifice and kill his own crew for that. And Luffy is like, I will never be like you. And then same thing with Arlong, like, you're forcing Nami against her will for this, and you're making my friends cry, and you're hurting her for your own goal. I'm going to bring this place down. And later on, with just before Skypiea, we see him not imitating, but taking a page out of what he learned from Shanks as a child and how to handle conflict. So in this one, we get even more of Luffy as a captain and determining the struggles of being captain and what it means and who he wants to be. So when he is told by the shipwrights that the Going Merry or the Merry-Go is not repairable, his immediate response is, no, you don't know our ship, you don't know how she endures and what she's been through. She's got us this far, she'll get us the rest of the way, fix the ship. And then the head shipwright, Iceberg guy, is just like, and you call yourself captain? You're willing to sail this thing till it sinks, hence, like, sacrificing your crew and putting them at danger? Like, what kind of captain are you to do this? And Luffy realizes, eventually, that he's right, the Merry-Go can't be fixed. We need a new ship. And then Usopp is like, how dare you? Just because you're captain, you want to abandon your comrade, the Merry-Go, just because she's not useful anymore? Why? What is wrong with you? How could you? There gotta be a way. And Luffy's just like, there's not. I've made my decision. And of course, you get the escalation into the fight between them, which I'll get more into when I talk about the plot. But then immediately after, Zoro is just, after the fight, Luffy's like, this is too much. This hurts. And Zoro is just like, this is what it means to be a captain. You can't turn away, because if you falter, who are the rest of us? What are we supposed to think? Who are we supposed to follow if you question yourself as the captain? You're our leader. And then, again, you get later on where Sanji is separated. He's out on the train, and Zoro's just like, you gotta tell him not to engage. It's too dangerous. And as a captain, you could argue that Luffy could give that order, but he knows his crew, and this is not a dictatorship. Everyone gets their say. Luffy will get the final determination on where they're going and how to act and how to proceed, but he's not going to go against his crew's wishes. So he's like, if I gave you that order, would you listen to me? No, Sanji, do what you gotta do. I know you're not going to hold back because I tell you to. We are on the way to help you. Stay alive, rescue Robin, do what you gotta do. And Sanji goes off and does his own thing. So I'm just loving Luffy as a captain. Learning from those he respects, the information he gets from those more experienced than him, more knowledgeable, and then rejecting the people who he finds dishonorable and not acting like a captain. And I gotta talk about stupid pigeon guy, we're getting to him after. The way he treats his comrades and friends. Oh my god. This man tosses away. It feels nothing for the home that he's made for the past 5 years. It's always been a mission to him. He doesn't care about his comrades. He doesn't care about anything or anyone other than his mission. He's terrifyingly powerful, but I hate this man so much. If you ever been on, I think, TikTok and you've seen that memes, like this 2D animated character ever became real, like it's on site, I would take this guy out. I would give my life to punch him in the face. There's only one other anime character, Fullmetal Alchemist, you know who it is, that I hate more than this man. I hate this pigeon man. Lucy, I do not like him at all. I also have to talk about Robin. Because my sweet, sweet, sweet girl, when I called her a demon in previous videos, I say it with love. That is with love and respect, and she's terrifying, and she's wonderful, and I love her. She was demonish characteristics, but I said it with love. I swear I did. These characters who refer to her as a demon do not say it with love and want to take her life, and I hate them. I would burn this world down to protect Nico Robin. I had thought, I swear, oh my God. When we learned that every organization she had worked for had fallen in some way, and she was the last to survive, so she would sacrifice them to get away and protect her own life. Okay, I may have believed that she temporarily would betray the crew to go on the run, but then she would realize and reflect back on the bonfires and the time on the ship and just how kind they are to her and how much they respect and love her. I figured she would eventually just be like, she would call them by name. It would no longer be Navigator, no longer be Longnose. It would no longer be whatever her nickname for Zoro was. And she would call them by name, and that would be the moment that she officially, her heart's like, I'm part of this crew now. No, she has always loved this crew. We learned that her dream, or her goal, has become, I want to protect the Straw Hats. I will sacrifice everyone else on this earth for the sake of keeping that crew alive. So yes, I will turn myself into the government. I will die for them. You do not touch them. And I love that. And I love that the crew was just like, no, you don't get to die for us. We're going to save you. And she's like, no, let me die for you. I don't want to see you hurt. I love Nico Robin. They have to get her back. I have so many feelings. While I'm overly emotional, let's talk about Usopp and the Going Merry, because this is when the anime saved everything for me. I still love the manga, but I started watching the anime when things got great, and I'm just like, I need the voice acting, I need the music, I need to see this animated. I don't care how much pacing issues I've had in the past with this anime. I need to visually see this. So I was so frustrated with Usopp for the majority of this arc, just because it's a ship. I get you love your ship. I loved my first car. I still remember my first car. It was this terrible blue tracker, but it was a vehicle. It was not the same as a crewmate. If it couldn't be repaired, you had to get a new one. And the fact that he was willing to leave the crew because of this was just frustrating to me. I did not understand where he was coming from. And I should have trusted Oda. I really should have, because the moment when we see how much Usopp cares and hearing about this, him seeing the spirit of the Going Merry, this fairy spirit thing that took physical form to repair the ship to get them the final journey home to safety, and then Franky tearing off the side of the Merry, that hurt me to my soul. I felt that. More so in the anime, because again, the voice acting and the music was all just perfect. So yeah, this is not just a ship to him. This never was. He believes this to be a actual crewmate with a life and soul. So it makes so much sense for why he would get beat up to protect it, why he would risk leaving the crew and everything there. This redeemed all Usopp for me. The Going Merry, or the Merry Go, everything. I loved it so much. All right, so let's talk about the plot, because so much happened in this. We enter Water 7. For the record, I did not watch the anime fillers yet with the Foxy Pirates, that will be an after Enies Lobby journey, because I was not watching that when this could be going on. We enter Water 7, And it is, of course, beautiful in world building. I loved how they utilized the water, the inspiration from Italy and Venice, and like the water elevators was all fantastic. They go and trade in the gold for berries. I'm going to be calling it dollars throughout the series. I'm sorry, but yes, the currency of berries. And at first they're offered like 100 million, and Nami's just like, nah, leg up on the table. It's like, this guy got a bounty on his head of 100 million. Give us the fair appraisal or else. The threat is not subtle. Love that. So they end up getting 300 million berries, and they're off to the shipwrights to get, A, they need to find a carpenter shipwright for the crew, and B, they need to get the merry-go fixed. And then, of course, my little heartbreaking moment when they meet Iceberg and are told that the ship cannot be fixed. Previously, of course, we got a letter from this old lady on a sea train who ran the sea train to give to Iceberg kind of as an introduction, which will all come back later, as well as with a frog. Did not expect to be so emotionally invested in that frog. And Usopp is kidnapped and loses 2/3 of the money that was supposed to be meant for the ship. And he is beaten brutally, more so than any other character, I think, up to this point in the series. I was genuinely concerned that this would have longer impact in terms of, like, is he down for this arc just because he was beaten within an inch of his life? And then, of course, Nami finds him. She goes tell the crew. Usopp in his shame, and it really goes into his insecurities with how much he doesn't think he's as good a fighter, which he's not, as the rest of the crew, but thinking that means he's holding them back. And he goes to, I guess, reclaim some honor and get that money back for the Merry, because they need that to fix his ship. And then, again, he is beaten within an inch of his life. Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, and Chopper all roll up on this Franky family's house, the ones responsible for beating up Usopp. And there is no reasoning with these people. They go in, and their intention is to destroy it. Blood and fire, like, bring the house down. There's nothing. And at first, the Franky family's just laughing at them, like, haha, what are you going to do if you're as weak as the last guy that we just beat up? And they respond with Luffy punching a hole through the armored guy who's like, you can't punch through this. Like, it can take a hit from a cannon and do nothing. Luffy punches through that. And then for good measure, when they shoot cannons at them, Zoro cuts through the cannonballs and follows up by cutting up the cannons. They destroy everyone. And then when they're like, hey, your money's gone, so beating us up is going to do nothing. We can't even tell you where the boss, Franky, is. So there's no point in this. And, like, and the Straw Hats are not hearing any of it. It's like, you can't apologize. There is no fixing this. I don't care about the money. You hurt our friends. Bring this house down. And they do. So love that. Then, of course, they have to tell Usopp what happened, and that even if they had all the money, the merry-go cannot be fixed. And he does not take this well. He does not accept it. And I love how at first Luffy kind of brushes it off as, I've decided we're going to get a new ship anyway. So I don't know if he was trying to spare Usopp's feelings in the fact that he lost the money, or if he just didn't want to explain that the merry-go couldn't be fixed at all. But eventually, of course, I thought they were going to set up miscommunication, like Usopp wouldn't be aware that it was impossible to fix it, but eventually they do tell him, and he just outright flat refuses to believe that that's the truth. And he challenges Luffy for a fight, or to a fight for the Merry. And leading up to this, they were just shouting insults at each other and arguing. And Luffy almost says, like, if you feel this strongly, like, leave the crew. He almost says that, but it's cut off by Sanji. And he's like, what the hell? You're going to say something you're going to regret in anger. Stop it. Cool down. And then, of course, Usopp challenges them for the fight. Before the fight, Nami is just distraught, like, guys, talk this out. Just apologize to each other. We can work this out. But Luffy recognizes, like, if this was an issue that could be solved by talking, it would have been. He wouldn't risk his life. He wouldn't leave the crew if this could be just solved by talking. Then you got conflict with Sanji and Zoro because Sanji needs someone to blame. So he blames Zoro for the fact that when the Franky family showed up to kind of rob him earlier on, Zoro didn't like beat them up hard enough. Because if he had, I don't know, killed them, then this wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have taken Usopp. And then Zoro's like, well, how should I know that? And Nami's just like, stop fighting. And Chopper is so upset. And then the fight happens. And honestly, it made me hate Usopp a little bit more because he is genuinely trying to hurt Luffy. He is taking advantage of everything he knows and targeting his attacks to Luffy's weaknesses that he knows so well. His weakness of caring for his friends and just his specific attack defenses and everything. He's tearing him down, and obviously he can't win. But it does show that Usopp is pretty competent when he has prep time, when he has the time to know his opponent, know their weaknesses, formulate a plan, and execute that plan. But at the same time, he's doing this against his friend, and it honestly made me hate him a little bit. So Usopp has left the crew, and the crew has learned that someone has attacked Iceberg and tried to assassinate him. And Iceberg had named Robin as one of the assassins, and they think that Straw Hats were involved as well. So Luffy wants to go talk to Straw Hat. They get into a confrontation with Franky, who turns out to be a cyborg. I'm not sure how I feel about a cyborg in this world, but I'm going to roll with it. There's a lot of things in One Piece you just got to roll with. I didn't... How do I phrase this? There was a line when we were introduced to Franky about after him and his crew beat up Usopp that made me think that he wasn't 100% the villain to blame, because he says something along the lines of, we're beating up a pirate, you probably stole this money from someone else, so really we're not the bad guys here, which was just enough gray area to make me think that they weren't going to be 100% the enemy. But then Franky shows up, we get cool fighting. The shipwrights break it up because they're also after the Straw Hats for revenge for what happened to Iceberg. And, of course, we learn that Robin was the one who betrayed them after she got separated from Chomper when someone had kind of convinced her to follow them. Lots of stuff happened in this arc. So eventually, this is when I also went to the anime during like the second assault on Iceberg, because I'm like, I gotta watch this. And I had loved these shipwrights. I loved their character design. I loved their personality. I loved how competent they were at both as being shipwrights, carpenters, and can hold their own to fight against pirates. And then they get attacked by this secret government organization that Robin has now been with, CP9. And I assume, because it was drawn, that the shipwrights were all killed. Despite how strong they were, despite how much I loved them, they were killed. And these masked people were after Iceberg to kill him. And Robin has a gun to Iceberg's head, and the masked people go after blueprints for the Pluton, this which is like a warship to combat the ones that's described on the poneglyph. So I'm assuming that there's one created, one already exists somewhere in the world that Robin has the knowledge on how to activate. And Iceberg has blueprints on how to build another one. So if someone ever found this one from the past, they could make another one to kind of combat it. But he doesn't want this to ever have to be built because millions of innocent people will die in the process. He then calls her a demon. Hate you for that. Because if it is worth sacrificing one life to prevent this ancient artifact from having to be able to be resurrected and used again that could cause countless amounts of damage, it's worth sacrificing her one life. And then, of course, that's reflected in Robin's decision to trade her life and would risk the entire world's, every living soul on this planet's life to protect the Straw Hats. God love Robin. She is a sweetheart. I love her. Do not ever call her a demon again. That is rude. Luffy shows up and he's just like, I don't care that Robin has been accused of betraying us. I don't care that she's accused of attacking Iceberg. I don't care that she's standing with the enemy right now. I'm here to save her. This has all been a mistake. She didn't actually betray us. The masked people removed their mask, and it turns out they were the shipwrights from earlier, that they had been CP9 undercover to find these blueprints. I did not see it coming because I just saw them die, but it was a fake a couple panels ago. I figured one of them would have been the secretary, Khalif. I kind of suspected her, but I didn't suspect any of the other shipwrights. I didn't suspect the guy from the bar. No, not even a little bit. And then we get in a fight where Zoro and Chopper and Nami and Luffy are all there, and they lose. These shipwrights are too powerful. They're too strong. The CP9 are monsters. But they don't kill them because of the deal that had with Robin. But we didn't know this at the time. It's not till afterwards when Zoro and Luffy have been thrown out of the building. Luffy gets stuck between a wall and Zoro gets in a chimney. That the place is on fire, and it's, I thought it was going to be the rap, but it's not. Chopper takes Iceberg and the lead head shipwright, Polly, and saves them. And that kind of gives them enough good grace for the angry mob of townspeople and other people at Galila to listen that, hey, the Straw Hats are not the enemy. It's not till Iceberg reveals to Nami the truth of what Robin had said, that she had willingly given herself up to protect them because a Buster Call would have been used on the Straw Hats, and there's no way they would have survived it. Nami, in probably my favorite Nami moment, she just collapses, and she's so happy that Robin did not betray them. And she goes and tells Chopper, and he is so happy and relieved that that Robin doesn't hate them, and she didn't really betray them, and now they're going to go rescue her. And Iceberg's just like, what are you talking about? You've lost. And Nami's just like, no, we did not. It's only just beginning. Now that we know Robin is doing this for us and we can save her, there's nothing we can't do. Then we have this whole issue with a tidal wave is coming on, the storm. There's no way to sail out. Eventually they get Luffy out of the walls or out of the chimney, but the waves are too strong. They miss the train that Robin had been taken to, and Luffy's just like, well, loan us a ship. And everyone's just like, we can't give you a ship. You'll sail into your death. And he's like, then we'll steal a ship. We cannot wait. Robin needs us. We are going, whether you like it or not. Meanwhile, Usopp has been kind of captured by Franky, and we get lots of character development with Franky, and they kind of become pals. And Franky finally convinces Usopp to see how damaged the merry-go is and how it can't be fixed. And it's better just tear it down, and how much the ship had loved them. And it wouldn't want to sink because it would take the crew down with it. And, like, don't leave that memory of the Mary when she had literally come into human fairy spirit form to repair herself enough to get them here. And Usopp is so sad. And he always knew, because on Skypiea, that's what he had seen, the spirit of the Going Merry repairing it. And it's like, I knew this, but I can't let her die. CP9 shows up to take Franky, because it turns out Franky and Iceberg were both apprentices under the same master shipwright builder of Tom, and they had originally had the blueprints. So Iceberg had trusted Franky with the blueprints, and to get them out of town if anything were to happen to him. We learned so much more about Tom and how he was charged with building the former Pirate King's Gold D. Rogers ship. And now I'm well aware that's either Iceberg or Franky is going to build Luffy a new ship, because only a master shipwright can build a ship that's capable of taking them to the end of the Grand Line. We get so much on Franky building these battleships, more or less just for fun, but they're so destructive. He has no intention of using them to harm people, but they are used against him and the city, and I'm assuming hundreds of people are either injured, killed, or died, and Tom dies protecting him and taken to Enies Lobby. It's just a lot. And I love that parallel between Franky just wanting to build these ships because he loves building these battleships, and his intention was not to harm people, the same way Robin's intention of finding the poneglyphs is not to harm people, but both can result in the destruction and death of people around them and innocent people, because someone else will get their hands on it and cause that damage. There's introducing to say, I don't know, someone who starts with an S. This guy now with a mask because Franky had beat him up for what he did to Tom. So much happened with that backstory. Where was I? CP9 comes and kidnaps Usopp and Franky to find those blueprints. And they drop the Going Merry into the water. Sorry, the Merry go into the water, and I hate them even more. This pigeon guy can burn in hell. And then, again, while all this is happening, Sanji, who I forgot about again. Do you remember in Alabasta, where it's just like everyone was in the cage and Mr. Prince comes and saves everybody because Sanji hadn't been with them, and I completely forgot that Sanji wasn't with them. He went off on his own. Well, he did it again because he knew that Robin eventually would go to the train station, so he was just camped out there waiting for Robin to show up. And then when the train leaves, he gets on too, because Nami didn't make it to the train station in time. Chopper had been using the other people from Galila to help him find Luffy and Zoro at this time, and Usopp too. He was saying, you can come too. I love Sanji. I love Sanji. I take back every criticism I've ever had about his character. I love Sanji so much. The note he left for Nami, and then just his determination to save Robin. All of it was fantastic. He fights his way through the train, each train car, eventually making it to Usopp and Franky. And when he is adamant, like, Usopp is not a friend of mine anymore, it's an ex-friend, he left the crew, but then he finds out, hey, you're Franky, you're the one responsible for beating him up, he's immediately attacking Franky. It's like, how dare you attack Usopp? Oh my god, so good. Meanwhile, Luffy and them, it's just like, give us a ship or we're stealing one. And the old lady from the earlier in the arc is just like, God, you kids are just off to rush to your death. I got something better. I got another ship, sea train. So they go there. It's an out-of-control runaway train. They get on it. The Franky family is also like, hey, let us come with you. We have to save our bro. And Luffy's just like, all right, come on, let's go. Because he appreciates and respects how much of a family they are as well. And they're off. They're going to save their friends. Okay, so much happens. We meet another captain, maybe, someone of Marines and Navy. T-Bone, the ship cutter or something like that. I love this man. He is the perfect combination of kind of scary, creepy looking, dedication to his crew, and just nobility like a knight kind of thing, and I love him. I want to see more. I assume we will, because his interaction with Zoro was far too brief. I love that Zoro, like, cuts a train in half, and this T-Bone guy is just like, what did you do to my crew? He was just, like, running after the train on the train tracks during this tempest giant storm. There was a guy who was just ginormous. There was a chef fight, and I love Sanji in the kitchen and how insulted he was that this guy called himself a chef. I love this mousy-looking guy who Franky ended up fighting, and he was like a recruit for CP9, and Franky was hilarious, where he's a cyborg in the front, because clearly when he got hit by a train and he repaired himself and did his own surgery, he could only do surgery on the front of himself. He couldn't reach the back, because that's where logic would take too big of a turn. So his back is vulnerable, and he's like, I'm invincible when I just lay down on my back, which is just hilarious. Eventually, they make it to Robin. Usopp had been trying to... Usopp had a whole thing with Sniper King, so Usopp left and Sniper King came out. King of Sniper Island, location your heart. I love Sniper King. And he's having a conversation with Robin. It's like, come with us. We understand what's going on, but we can save you. We can work together. We'll figure this out. We're here to rescue you. Let's go. But Robin ends up taking Usopp into the train cart with the other members of CP9, And it's just like, I'm not going to run away. I'm not going to leave with them. Just let them leave, let them go. And I will go. I will go for my execution. But Usopp uses the smoke bomb to distract CP9, and they hightail it to another train cart thing, chop it off, let it float out, thinking they got away. And then there's another little altercation with the rose whip thing. But what got me was the door. This door fruit. The way my heart just dropped when he appeared behind Sanji and came to take Robin back. And she is just so accepting of her fate because she believes that there's no way for the Straw Hats to defeat the government, to defeat CP9, and this is the only way for her to save them. But Usopp's just like, have faith in Luffy, and I really believe this is because he feels so ashamed that he didn't have faith in Luffy, so he left the crew, and he just doesn't want Robin to make the same mistake. So they lose Robin. She is back with CP9. They also have Franky, and they are on their way to Enies Lobby. And the other Straw Hats are on their way to them. And we obviously are just going to go to Enies Lobby. We're going to get Robin back. We're going to save Franky as well. But I am so invested in this arc. I loved everything. I loved every page of the manga. I loved every moment I watched of the anime. I'm going to continue watching the anime because the voice acting was incredible. I don't think I have too much more to say. All right, I'm gonna go. I need to sadly go to work and make a living, but second I get a chance, we're starting the next arc of the manga. I'm obsessed. I love it. I will talk to you later.